It's time to find out if jinxes exist. This is the Arsenal Vision pre-match live show. My name is Elliot Smith, the Black Man, Twitter, Yankee Gunner. What do I mean, jinxes exist? Well, it has been brought to my attention that we here at the Arsenal Vision post-match podcast, pre-match live stream.com, hashtag live stream, pregame, have an excellent 0-4 record, I believe, this season of doing live streams and losing every single match we play subsequently. So if that is indeed the case, today we're going to find out that jinxes don't exist because Everton stink, and we are going to turn them over. 10-0 is my prediction, but we will see, because here to predict along with me is Jessica Black. You can find her on Twitter at It's Jessinho. Hello, Jess.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, good. So Clive will be here. Paul will be here. It is going to be a big festive occasion, and then we'll have our instant reaction over on the Patreon side of things as ever. But before Clive and Paul get here, Jessica, we got to break this jinx. This is not okay. People do not want to come to a live stream for a group of people that jinx the team they support. So are you on board with the idea that this jinx is not real and we're going to prove it today?
I hope so. I really, really hope so.
Wow, confidence is radiating through it. Radiating. Wow, impressive. Okay, so I don't think we have team news yet, although we're not far from it. Let's just quickly throw this.
Odegaard and Martinelli are going to start. That's
Odegaard and Martinelli are going to start is some of the interesting news. So, all right. Yes, that ticks a lot of boxes for me. Yeah, I should mention I had a different top that I was going to wear, and it was a little damp from being washed, so I threw it in the dryer for a minute to get it nice and dry. And this is a true story. I threw it in the dryer. It was like 99% dry, but I was like, let's just get it that extra bit drier so I'm not cold doing this live stream, because it is 7 degrees Fahrenheit outside, roughly, is sub-zero Celsius for you Celsius people. And so I threw it in the dryer. But this is an interesting thing, Jessica, and this is good for everyone to know. We like to educate here on the Arsenal Vision podcast. I threw it in the dryer with wet clothes, which actually resulted in it getting wetter than when I had put it into the dryer in the first place. So this is the backup item that was available to me. Did you know that if you put a mostly dry item into the dryer to dry it fully with wet clothes, it will actually become wetter?
Yeah, sounds about right. But I'm glad you know now.
Okay.
Teachable moment for you, right then.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a teachable moment. Okay, you have made this brilliant thing. Do you want to take the wheel here and walk us through? So it's Everton Arsenal today. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so I mean, Martinelli, love him. So just moving on. I think one of the bigger headlines today was that Thomas Partey did sit down with Sky Sports and kind of talk about how he's performed since being at Arsenal Football Club. And it's not really a big shock, but he hasn't felt like he's done very well. He said that since joining the club, he's felt like he's put in a 4 out of 10 in his performances altogether. And the main point was that he feels like he has not adapted to the Premier League, and sometimes he loses concentration. He spoke about losing the ball quite a few times against Man United, and that he needs to do better. And I think, reading into body language and stuff is not always the best indication of how somebody's feeling, but looking at him, if I had to guess, I would say he's really not feeling great about what he's putting out there, which for us is a good sign, because at least he doesn't think that he's out there doing a great job. But at the same time, he needs to figure out a way to get that confidence there, to adapt to the Premier League. He needs to play more games because we rely upon him. So I thought that was an interesting headline for today.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, right? Like the thing that's so funny about this, Jess, is that like there's this huge argument that always happens about players. And, I've been one who's thought that Thomas Partey at times has been brilliant, but at times I think is disappointed versus what we hoped for from him. And you get in these huge arguments, oh, you don't know, this guy's amazing. And everybody has to like defend a player, go after a player. And like, I like this because it's the player himself saying, no, like I haven't hit the level that I know I can hit and that I need to hit. And that's actually good to hear. Like, I'd be more worried if Thomas is like, yeah, I've been amazing. I'm the best, because then you'd say, well, maybe this is what he thinks he can do. But I do think that there's a benefit to reading this from a player, right? Just because it's basically saying he knows he can do better. And I think we need to see that.
Yeah, we rely upon him. I'm not sure if he's ever been in a situation where, I mean, he played for Atletico for years, so that's where he spent the majority of his time. And not only is he being asked to be the main hub of midfield, and especially since Xhaka is not there, but he's also being asked to be a leader. And I'm not sure that he's ever been asked to do that before. So not only is he adapting to the league and trying to get over these injuries, but he has to step up for the team in this young group. And it's just not a good look. You know, Sambi's the better midfielder than you against Newcastle. El Neni arguably has a better game than you against Man United. He has to step up, but I like that at least he's recognizing it. And with Granit maybe being around the corner, we could be kind of gearing up to have our first choice midfield, in my opinion, and I think in Arteta's opinion as well, moving into a really tricky period, at least until January before Thomas Partey leaves for AFCON.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the AFCON is going to be interesting because a lot of the players that we've sort of wondered what's going to happen with them won't be here for us to find out. They'll be gone. You know, guys like Nicolas Pepe, guys like Thomas Partey, guys like Aubameyang, right? By the way, always important. Matthew pointing out, block me on Twitter. It is the only solution. So yeah, Clive is coming shortly. Paul is coming shortly. So we're lining all of that up right now and actually in touch with those legends as we speak. But yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going here. Granit Xhaka, he thinks he's Michael Jordan. Is that what we're seeing here?
He's back. I think one of the first updates that they had for him on the website, they were saying that he was working and he was a little bit ahead of schedule. And I said December 1st, he'd be back. I was just a couple of days off because this guy is, I don't know what he's made of, but the guy is like, he comes back from injury really quickly. And so he's supposed to be back in the side, or at least in the squad, which I know there's a lot of Xhaka hate, but until we get another midfielder, he's one of our best options. And so having him back in the squad will probably be a good thing. So that's basically all he's saying, is that he's back. I don't expect him to start. I think it's too early for that. But there's also the little bit of news that Smith Rowe could miss out due to a tight groin. You know, so that makes that front four really interesting.
Yeah, I'd be really sad to see Smith Rowe miss out. You know, I think in terms of goal contribution, he's one of those players that you just sort of feel like he's going to pop up with a goal. But are you familiar with? Of course, you're familiar with the "I'm back" history, right? So Michael Jordan left basketball to go play baseball. The less said about that, the better. And when he came back, the headline was just "I'm back." And so clearly, Xhaka, Michael Jordan, same deal. Let me ask you though, in terms of Xhaka, and get your comments in about the Xhaka thing. I mean, look, it's funny, right? Because nuance is hard to convey online, but like, I am not a Xhaka fan in the sense that I think moving on from Xhaka this summer would have been sensible. I don't think he's quite been what we obviously would have hoped when we bought him. And I think he's a player that has sort of defined the ceiling of this team. I still think he is a good player. And I think it is better for us to have him than not have him, especially with Partey going. So I feel conflicted because while I certainly would have liked to have seen us address midfield more thoroughly this summer and have moved on from Xhaka, it is silly to pretend that Xhaka is not a valuable part of our team, right? So like him coming back is not, let's put it this way. Well, I think there are a lot of people that were just sort of happy to move on from Xhaka and forget he exists. Him coming back is a help to us. And at a time when we're going to need him, especially.
Yeah, I think it's important to distinguish, you know, there's two different conversations here about Granit. It's what he is to us because he's a part of the team and we have nothing better, and what we want to do moving forward to move away from him. And so I always separate the two. It's hard to, because if you say Granit is probably, you know, the best person to be next to Thomas Partey, you get a lot of pushback because it's like, but he's no good. But ultimately, that's the best we got. And Sambi has done amazingly, but I still think we need more senior presence in the midfield. We're lacking a little bit of something there. And so I think we need to move on sooner rather than later. I think when I look back at the summer window, I think that was probably one of the bigger mistakes, or the mistake that I feel like we made. We didn't move on from him, but he's the best we got, you know, and I think we're a better midfield with him. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, but also acknowledging that you want to move on from him. The two things can exist. Two things can be true, right, Elliot?
We needed two things can be true, and we got it. Two things can be true. And two things can be true. It can be true that everybody is waiting for Clive to join the stream, but it can also be true that people will tolerate Paul joining the stream. So Paul's on Twitter, Pause My Pants. Hello, Pause.
You bastard.
that's my behind.
What an intro. He gets fireworks, I get
Well, I would have played your video, but last time I did, I got a copyright strike for it. Eddie Longbridge made you a brilliant intro video, but yeah, we got a
I have a solution for that, and that's that you play the video without the sound, and I'll like hum along and like whistle along the song for you.
Yeah. So, oh, here we go. You get some love from Eddie. Oh my God, it's Paul. We don't usually get an oh my God, it's Paul. Usually we get an oh my God, it's Clive. But we got some love, Paul. Hi, Paul. Best intro for Paul.
Stop it, lads. Oh, stop.
Paul, the soothsayer for Bad Omens, is back. Yeah, you. What'd you predict? 3-1 to United last time?
2-0.
Yeah. Yep, here we go. So just getting this news in from the Arsenal Vision podcast. Aubameyang dropped and KT starts is the early news. We're gonna get into that. Paul, woohoo, my guy Paul. Okay, enough of this. We're done with that. Let's get this back on the screen. Let's go next page. Everton will be out Calvert-Lewin and Davies today. Paul, I mean, if there's a game apart from a home game against a weak team, if you had to pick an away game to have, this might be the one. Bad situation on the manager front, bad situation with fitness front. They don't have a lot of weapons up front. They are in a terrible run of form. I think 2 draws and 6 losses from their last 8 or something like that. This game has to be a win for Arsenal, right? I mean, it's all set up for us.
It does, though. Benitez is very good at making life difficult. So we got to play. I mean, we got to play well. If we play okay or we're a little off, I don't think you can assume anything in this game. So we gotta come with pretty close to our A game. We got to dominate. We got to be able to do more than have possession. We got to be effective in the final third. And I don't know where we're at confidence wise. We may be looking for a response after the last game, and we could come out all guns blazing, which would be great, and get the first goal, which always means we win. No, apparently it doesn't. But anyway, the first goal does give you confidence. You just got to do something with it. So that's really the thing. I don't think we can assume anything about today. I agree with you. We need the result. We need the points. We need the win. We should be able to get that win if we bring our game.
Yeah. Jess, I mean, I don't know what to say other than this has to be a win. It's all set up for us. Just like I said with Paul, they don't look super threatening. And I mean, it is just what you want, because we can be a little bit more adventurous because they're less likely to be able to hurt you. So, I mean, early take on this has to be go get them, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of was talking about this yesterday with some Arsenal fans, and I said it was a must win. And obviously you get the little bit of like, well, it's not really a must win because there's more games. And I'm like, psychologically for Arsenal right now with United and Spurs winning, it has become a must win. I know that the season won't end because of it, but again, depleted squad, manager issues, club issues. This is a team that has not won a game since September. We cannot hand them their first win. And so I would imagine that not only do we need the win because of points and where we need to be in the table and all of that, but we need a response from the Man United game. Arguably, I think we still are looking for a response from the Liverpool game. So I'm looking to see it now, and I think that there's nothing wrong with expecting to beat this Everton team. They're not great, and we're better than them, I think.
Yeah. A little bit of news. Marcel Brands, Everton's director of football, stepped down, and fair to say he's done an absolutely tragic job. So no surprise there. There's also a planned walkout by the fans. 27th, I think it's 27th minute, 20th minute. Yeah, somewhere I've heard it both.
One of those.
One of those fans during the Arsenal game. My hope is that they will walk out before that because they are down 5-0. We will see. But all right, everybody, might as well do it. What do you say? Should we do it? Oh my God, it's Clive. Hello, Clive.
Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, good. I told you, one of these days I'm going to be able to record the little mini window that only I can see of you shaking your head when I run that video. Now we'll just have to. Clive is back, and here with him is Granit Xhaka. Clive, is Granit Xhaka? This is the question on everybody's lips. Is Granit Xhaka Thanos? Is he inevitable?
He is, and he starts, right? So, yeah, now we're going to find out who his boys are. Do you know what I mean? He's picked the team. Who are my boys? Right, all those people who are giving me stick for giving El Neni a little bit of an appraisal. Nah, one game. So it's not all about your numbers, it's about what you do with those numbers, right? So one game, see you later, son, sit down. That's the end of it.
That's the end of it. Well, I'm going to bring everybody back into the stream to welcome you in and celebrate you being here, Clive. Okay, we got some team news out though, and Paul. I mean, what about you? Like, I do see a couple of questions from people just saying, what did Sambi do wrong? And I mean, you could say what he did wrong is he had a mare 5 minutes after halftime at Anfield, but he was a man of the match candidate against Newcastle, gets dropped for Old Trafford. Now he's lost a spot. He's a young man. His time will come. But what are your thoughts on the midfield and Granit Xhaka stepping into a huge moment, having not played almost at all this entire season, right back from injury, right back, and he goes.
It's incredible, isn't it? Look, he's built like a truck, that fella, even if his ACL snapped. I'm amazed that he is back first game, that he's eligible. I would have told you confidently that he's lucky to make the bench and that they'll just kind of acclimate him to the scene and, you know, he might be candidate for our next game. I'm absolutely shocked he's starting. What did Sambi do wrong? Absolutely nothing. I actually think he was probably our best player of the first half against Liverpool. He just had a bit of a mirror at the start of the second half, lost concentration, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I think this is going to be a tough game. I think we absolutely should win it. But you can't start a mini crisis. So I think we got to win this, and you need experience, and Goodison's tough. They're not going to be easy. We should win, but they're not going to be easy. And Rafa's never an easy opponent. He's going to
well,
make
he has
it
been
tough
for the last 8 he's playing. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it's been pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But apart from that, he's never an easy opponent.
No, I hear
you. Tierney back in, I expected that. Laka coming in, I wouldn't say I would have absolutely. I thought Laka and Aubameyang might play together. That's what I thought.
We've got the table here just quickly. Obviously, you know, it is a chance for us to jump back over United, back over Spurs into 5th, just behind West Ham, with West Ham not too far on the horizon. So, you know, we've got that going on. Clive, I mean, it is a very, very big game, and it's a game that I think, look, let's say it, Everton haven't won a match since September 25th. There's really no excuses here, right?
Not according to Elliot.
I mean, if I were giving the team talk, I'd say, come on, guys, there's no excuses here. Yeah.
No, well, the world is watching. The Arsenal world is watching, and a draw would be a disappointment, wouldn't it? Because we've seen the weekend results. I mean, even the women didn't win, for God's sake. Every result went against
brutal.
us.
Yeah, heavy loss to Chelsea in the FA Cup final.
Yeah, and every result went against us, and now we're sitting there back in our comfortable position of 7th/8th, and that's not a place that you can measure the team in, right? So
you don't like the comfort of it?
No, well, there's a lot of people out there that are, you know, that 8th is the people that are not so enamored with the manager. They're looking at 8th and saying, "See, no progress. We spent £150 million. Doesn't know what he's doing." All the other top 6 teams have got experienced super coaches. We've got this novice. Why we've got this novice in our house? Blah 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 blah. Jess, you see it out there, didn't you? You see it out there, all this chat, and it's sort of. I don't like it because I'm interested in seeing the development of the group we have. So for me, I'd much rather focus on. We found a player in the last game in Martinelli, a player that we thought we'd lost. We thought the manager disconnected to, and we suddenly, you know, the ones like you, Elliot, who can remember his numbers and how he impacted you when you first met him as a player. I think now he's back, and that's massive, right? Because we all wondered, didn't we? Have we lost him? Have we lost him? Did we overhype him? Have we been classic Arsenal fans, overhyping a young player? Blah blah blah. But I think we found him again, and I think that's really useful. Really useful.
Yep. Well, I mean, Jess, there's a couple of big selections here. So Smith Rowe misses out with a groin injury, so he's not available for selection. I do kind of wonder, looking at the way this lineup shakes out, is it going to be is it going to just be the same as what we've been doing with Martinelli playing the Smith Rowe role on the left, or do you think there's a subtle change that'll be happening there? Could he and Saka swap? Could Odegaard play on a wing with Martinelli in behind? I mean, Lacazette hasn't typically been playing striker, but I assume he'll play it today. My guess is it'll be a straight swap Martinelli for Smith Rowe, and we'll play the way we've been playing. But do you see any other changes happening?
No, that's generally what I think will happen, and what will help, Martinelli is if he is on the left-hand side, he'll be there with KT, versus Nuno, who would like to go forward. They're both pretty much like go forward, go forward, go forward. So you have Tierney on that side, kind of keeping things together. But I don't see it being anything special. I think the most important thing, with Odegaard is there needs to be another focal point, because right now he's a little light. And so having Lacazette up there allows you to have like that 2 10s, and then hopefully Saka and Martinelli have enough goals in them to make things happen. I think we lack goals, but it just is what it is. One of Smith Rowe or Saka have to kind of play in order for us to get that progression. So I think we're good. I think there's enough balance there. I don't think it's going to be a swashbuckling. Is that the word? But 4-0 type of thing. But I see at least 2 goals in this team, and I think there's enough there. And I'm glad Martinelli is still there, because had he not started, I don't know. I think I would have been so upset. I think a lot of people would have. So he keeps the shirt. It's good.
Yep. Paul, obviously, no Tavares. Tierney comes back. It is interesting, right? Because there was this narrative that Arteta had settled on this future, right? And it's Lakanga and it's Tavares, and we're playing all the new guys and all the young guys. And he stuck with it for Newcastle after they got a little rumbled at Anfield, which can happen. He sort of wavered a little bit, I guess, but he stuck with it again to an extent at Old Trafford, minus the El Neni situation. And then tonight it's back. So what do you think about the decision to bring Tierney back? Oh, you're on mute. And I can unmute you, can I? No, I can't. You have to unmute yourself.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. We missed all the brilliant stuff you had to say, so now you can say the rest of it.
Yeah, I think I thought the United game was the one for Tierney. I thought he'd be back for that one. It's time he came back in. I think what we saw against United, if anything, was a lack of guys on the pitch who could tell other guys that they weren't reading the game right emotionally, that they weren't in the right place. 15 minutes flies in a game. 30 minutes in a stadium like Old Trafford with the crowd, before you blink and it's half time and you suddenly realize you let the momentum slip. And that's where, in some ways, I think we misread experience as being something other than knowing what's required and when. Having that in-game sense that after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, that things are turning and you need to step up as a team, not individually. And your Tierneys, your Xhakas are the guys who can say, hang on, guys, we're making this really fucking tough for ourselves. 5 minutes has gone by since we scored our goal, and we're allowing let's keep it, let's tidy it up, let's get things back together, let's get back on track quickly, because 30 minutes becomes 45, becomes 90. So I'm delighted Tierney's back. Tavares had a good run. I think obviously he could well have Martinelli on his side, and that'll be an interesting combo for them. And Tierney's smart with that, and has, he's played with Martinelli. Tavares really hasn't played with Martinelli where they have any kind of understanding. So I think it's best to bring in Tierney, because if his thought process, Arteta, was Martinelli deserves a little bit of a run now, then he's got to think around that. I don't think you play Aubameyang and Martinelli against Everton. I think they'd love that. I think the ball just they're going to keep recovering the ball, defending the ball. So if you want to play Martinelli, bring in Tierney, bring in Lacazette and Saka, and you have some stickability with the ball. We'll hold on to it. We can do clever combinations on the right and be more attacking down the left, be more incisive down the left. So to Jess's point, I think there's some good balance here. Tierney makes a lot of sense.
Clive, what shirt you got on?
Training shirt.
Oh, okay. There you go. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. So you missed my laundry story from earlier. People loved it, and a lot of people are asking to hear it again, but we don't have a lot of time for that, so I'll have to do it another time. But yeah, it was a good story, a good laundry story that you missed there. So let's run down a couple of details here from Orbinho, our favorite. Arsenal have lost 3-1, just one of the last 5 Premier League meetings with Everton. The Gunners have won just 2 of their last 9 trips to Goodison Park. And unfortunately, Clive, it's looking like a fairly strong Everton lineup. I can try to get that up on the screen for you. Have you seen it yet?
I have.
What do you think?
I just noticed that Jerry Mina's back.
Yeah.
He's there, 6'10" centre back. Just what we need for our set pieces. And so yeah, but again, it's his first game back. So I think let's just think about what we have at the moment. And I quite like this almost double false 9 in the Odegaard and Lacazette. I think that gives them a chance to survive. I like my stretchers on the outside. So from the way that I like football, I love having pace on the outside, brains on the inside. Very simple. You have your square there with Xhaka and Partey and the 2 ahead. I love it. I really like that on paper. Hope that works. Tierney takes care of himself. Sambi, I think he signed a 5-year contract with us. I think it's very important we protect that asset. There's obviously something that happened at Anfield where we lost him for a while. And we don't, and we got him back and we need to protect him, sit him down. I was just thinking, I went for a dog walk earlier on, and I was thinking about all the players post-Euro 2021 that are sitting down. Stones is sitting down.
Yeah.
Sterling sat. Even Andy Robertson sat for a while. Tierney sat. Players are sitting. Mount sat. Grealish sat. All these players are sitting. It's okay for good players to sit down. The most important thing is you don't lose them by overplaying them. And I think we're in danger of that because our Euro 2020 star is still playing in Saka, had to come back early. Smith Rowe had the international break and it's no surprise he's finally burnt out. I'd love to be in a situation where we are with Nuno and Tierney, that we can rest those players when they need to because we get them back. Look at Sterling now, he's flying again, right? So it's very important that we do that. I think for Everton, for those who's been to that ground, it is madness in there. Every single referee decision is like really aggressively contested. It is probably one of the most aggressive away days of the season. So this is a day for cool heads. This is a day for all your old men to be out there to understand what it's like in these atmospheres. You got the kids can play any other games. We've got lots of games this month. We've got home game versus Southampton. We've got the Sunderland game coming up.
Cup.
Man, there's loads of games in December where there's plenty of minutes. Don't stress about that. This is a game where you need your men to go and get the result. 3 points. Gotta be done. It's gotta be done. You know what I mean? Because the old washing machine is revving up if it doesn't, right? And I think I'll be on Jessie's Twitter later to see what she's going to say.
You're not going to pull her punches, that's for sure.
Yeah, she doesn't mind. She doesn't mind a 2-footy tackle every now and again, right?
No, she'll mix it up. She'll get in the mixer, as they say.
I'm not going to lie.
We've learned it. But let me ask you about the Pepe thing, Jess. I mean, he's going to be going off to the AFCON, and he's probably going to be going off to AFCON having hardly played, if at all, since the Palace game. And I'm just wondering where you think that goes because, he doesn't get on in the Newcastle game when Martinelli does. Fine. He doesn't get the start then at Old Trafford or come on. Fine. He's not starting again today. It's not that individually I think any of the selections are wrong. We all want to see Martinelli. And if it was Pepe getting these minutes instead of Martinelli, then the narrative would just be he hates Martinelli and we're going to lose this bright young player. So sometimes managers can't win. But given how much Pepe was playing, and then since the Palace game, how little we've seen him, I don't think it's wrong to maybe add 1 and 1 and get 11 here. Do you think there is an issue there, and how do you see it resolving? Because it is sort of weird if he goes from this period of basically not playing for us at all, then he leaves for AFCON. What does his future at Arsenal look like when he comes back?
I guess when you say like an issue, some people might think that means like they've had some big blow up. But I just think he's out of favor. I just think he's not the first guy off the bench, and I don't know why that is, but I don't think he's had amazing performances. Whenever I think about him potentially being in the lineup, I always go back and I'm like, but do I actually think he's going to play the way that I think he is? Probably not, because he's so inconsistent. So I don't know if there's like this thing or that something has went on. I just think he's out of favor. And when you look at Martinelli, I just feel like he's just probably been in the shadows in the background, just kind of doing his work. And Pepe had good opportunities in the beginning of the season. He didn't really take those, by the scruff of the neck. And so now his chance is kind of gone and he has to wait his chance. I don't know if he gets it before AFCON, but I almost wondered if he would get a chance against Everton, kind of similarly to when we played against Leicester last season away from home. And that worked. And he was really good against Luke Thomas, and he had a really good game, but he hasn't been added in this lineup. And for Saka to be somebody who's played so many minutes, but Arteta doesn't feel confident enough to play Pepe, even though we know Saka has a lot of minutes in his legs, I think that says a lot. So at the end of the season, I think something like some sort of conversation needs to be had, or like something needs to happen. But in the meantime, it's not looking good for Pepe, but I can't say that I'm super worried about it because I think we do fine without him.
Yeah. Well, a little news breaking right now, Paul. Nottingham Forest in the Cup. We lost to Forest 4-2 last time we faced them. Was that an Emery team that did that? Or was that you know what? I can't remember exactly. Clive, you're on mute, so your comment that you added back in did not reach us, although we heard you. We saw you mouthing a comment, but...
Yeah, I just said I can't remember neither. So I wasn't adding any value, trust me.
2018.
I think we played them and we beat them up.
I can't remember either.
You know what? 2019 we beat them 5-0. That's right. 28. Yeah. That was in the League Cup. 2018 in the FA Cup third round, we lost 4-2 at Forest, and we're going to be at Forest again. But I mean, it's a good draw.
Yeah, great.
It is one of these things, Paul, where I have been a believer that winning the FA Cup is an absolute blast and also not the priority. But in a season when you don't have Europe, the domestic cups take on a bit more priority, right? And it is a backdoor into Europe. Now, none of us want to countenance the idea of finishing outside the top 6, but the FA Cup winner, I believe, gets a Europa bid. So what do you think? Good draw and a competition we should be maybe focusing on a bit this season?
Yeah, for sure. And it's a backdoor into Nicolas Pepe as well, and anybody else. We're going to have a bunch of games over this December period into early January. There's going to be cup games. Pepe could play 4 times. That's what got him. His Europa League escapades are what got him playing a significant role in the starting lineup for the Premier League again. So I've gone past thinking Arteta has any kind of vendetta agenda stuff against any individual player. I think those who are earning a start or earning coming off the bench are starting or coming off the bench. He's playing experience. He's playing youth. These are all his players now at this point. And, I don't think he's got anything else going on that he won't leave till next summer. Right now, it's about winning games, happy squad, big number of games coming up. The AFCON, he's going to lose a few games. So he's juggling some balls, but it's not about personalities or blah, blah, blah. I just don't think Nicolas Pepe has done quite enough in training. He started the season strong, and we talked about how could he be dropped? How could we drop him for Saka? What had he done wrong to be dropped for Saka? And eventually Saka did well, and he missed a step or two, and Saka's in. And apparently what's going on in training hasn't meant that he's the guy who comes off the bench. It's been Martinelli or whoever. And that's how it is. It's if you're at City, if you're at wherever, you've got to fight for your place in training, on the pitch, when you get your chances. And that's how it should be. And these guys will make themselves and each other better by competing. So that's how it works.
Well, let's go back to the game tonight. It is an important one, and the lineup is an interesting thing. Clive, one of the things that I think is really interesting about this lineup is if Martinelli is just coming in to replace Smith Rowe, it's an entirely renovated left side of the attack. It's Tierney, it's Xhaka, it's Martinelli. where for quite a while it's been Lokonga and Tavares and Smith Rowe. And so while all of those are good players, Xhaka is a presumptive first choice player, and Tierney is, I think you'd say, a presumptive first choice player. And Martinelli is a guy who recently just scored a fantastic goal and we have a lot of time for and rate very highly. That is a lot of change on one flank. So I'm wondering if you think that will be a challenge, just trying to reintegrate all these players on one flank who haven't played together at all this season, and a couple of them that haven't played in months. I do worry about the left side being, especially with Tierney and Xhaka, now very experienced, very talented players, but being guys that have not played any football for Arsenal in months and months. So what's your thought on how that side of the pitch in particular is going to need to gel, because we haven't seen that grouping before?
Yeah, I mean, we assumed that Martinelli would play left because we all think probably, I don't want to talk for everybody, but I think we all think that he's better on that side. Some people debate he's a centre forward, so I hope he is left. I'm glad Tierney's there because he'll tell him where to stand. I think that's important. I think he'll help him. I think sometimes, although recently he hasn't done it, he spends too much time wide. I watched Seamus Coleman the other day versus Liverpool. He was blowing, mate. He was carrying the caravan behind him, blowing. And I want to get at him. Yeah, get at him quickly. They've got Ben Godfrey on I think will probably play left back because Coleman will play right back. I quite like Ben Godfrey as a right back, funny enough. He's very fast, very tall, but quite agile with it. A player that I like, right? So I think it'd be interesting to see what happens. But Saka will be coming in on his right foot, so that would be interesting. But Saka's just slick, right? So we'll see what happens there, what he decides to do. Martinelli could easily swap around and go on the outside of him. That caused him problem. I'm just glad we got speed there. I say again, I like the Balances team. I think we're coming to a phase, Eddie, I said this on the podcast, that there's going to be a number of selection decisions as the fixture lists are compressed. And we're going to be in a world of, we don't agree with this, we don't agree with that. It's much harder. Sorry, it's much more simple when we're playing once a week and the team picks itself more or less, give or take an injury or two. But now we're having to make multiple changes and people will always challenge that, Ainsley's not on the bench. And I'm thinking, well, mate, you've had 2 starts, man of the match. You're not even got a tracksuit on, and I'm wondering what's happened to him. There's a Pepe thing as well. Some people think he should leave. Some people think he's misused. There's a debate, and there are many of these debates out there, and these debates will become more feverish if we don't win. And there's an expectation that we win today, and there really is. I say no excuses, but this is the one, right? This is the one. We can't go away twice and come away with 0 points. That can't happen, right? Other teams are revving up, and we have to say to ourselves, okay, we're in points accumulation mode, and we have to go with them. And there's no debate anymore. We've seen the talent of the team. We know where they are. We know we've got some deficiencies on build-up and ball retention in that middle third. We have got some deficiencies around how we manage games. There's some fantastic podcasts and things that are written about Manchester United game. But there's 2 words that really stand out to me. And one from Tim, he said the Manchester United performance was apologetic after we scored. As though we were apologising for almost scoring, and it sort of affected us the way we scored. I thought that was beautifully written. And Amy Lawrence said something on the one of the podcasts this week, and she said that Arsenal are repeatedly paralysed by opportunity. And I think we all feel that frustration of the promised land is there. We just got to do one game, just be sensible, and we get paralysed by it, and we don't quite kick on. And that frustration manifests itself within us, and we all go our own way. Some people blame the players or a player, the manager. They blame something, and that's our want as a fan, right? But I don't want us to be paralysed by opportunity anymore. I really feel we have talent here, and it isn't about me, backing anybody. It's about me supporting the team as I see them. I wasn't saying this about Cedric and Chambers and Kalashnik, and I'm saying this about this group. This group is good. It's got real potential, and I'm excited by it, and I want it to work. So I think it's time for us to not be paralysed by opportunity, and I do think that's why Xhaka and Lacazette are on this pitch. It's time to man up.
Yeah, well, and I do think that getting that balance is important. I mean, Jess, it's great to have a project youth going on. And I think it is giving people a willingness to be more patient than they might otherwise be. And for some people, they say it's not an excuse. And I sort of straddle both of those opinions at times because I'm quite flexible. I used to be a gymnast. It's pretty obvious probably looking at me. But like, I think it is important to have those senior players throughout the squad that create an environment for the younger players to go out and not have to drag us to results. I mean, we've been talking about how in a lot of these games, it's Saka and it's Smith Rowe and it's Tomiyasu and it was Tavares, or Lakanga dragging us along, while players like Aubameyang or, Thomas Partey or Nicolas Pepe in some cases, weren't getting the job done. And so you do want that balance of seniority and leadership and experience in there to help the young players, but they have to actually do the job. And so, where do you fall between the need for this senior leadership, the need for the experience, so that we're not just a bunch of kids who are going to be inconsistent and error prone, but those senior players needing to earn it, needing to prove that they deserve the place?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's interesting because of the type of senior players that we have. I think we kind of spoke about this with Thomas Partey. I think this is probably the first time in his career that he's being asked to be a senior leader. And we know that Aubameyang, although he's been our talisman, I don't think we ever regarded him as a captain before now. So it's interesting seeing players, I think, having a difficult time getting themselves into form, but also having that responsibility to be a leader when maybe they've never been that before. And so they're struggling a bit, but I personally feel like they just need a good little run of form, some of these senior players, and they'll be just fine. I just feel they're going through a weirdish moment. And I have faith in at least Thomas Partey, Kieran Tierney, Odegaard, and maybe if we can start getting things ticking in the attacking third, Aubameyang, that they just need a little bit of something, a good little run of form. I don't count them out completely as these leaders. I just think they're struggling a little bit to gain form in their own game. Then they're being asked to do something else. So the introduction of Xhaka and Kieran Tierney will help that. But we need them. And I don't think we can go through with a team just full of kids, because there's no precedent in my mind that I can think of where there's a young manager and a young team without any senior buy-in, or at least any seniors like playing really well, that's going to do well. So he has to get that balance right. But it's up to them, and I think struggling for your own form makes it difficult to be a leader. So we need Thomas Partey and Aubameyang to focus on themselves first.
All right, well, let's get to the nuts and bolts of the game then. And Paul, there's clearly one thing we're all going to be looking out for today. Everybody knows it. We're sick of talking about it. Is it the better strategy for Arsenal to go a couple goals down today? Because the one thing that we are sick of seeing is Arsenal taking the lead and sitting back and giving up any control of the match and then subsequently throwing points away. So obviously, all jokes aside, we're hoping to see Arsenal take a lead today. How important is it? And there's no good way to ask this question because the answer is obvious. Like, oh yeah, I think it's pretty important that we don't throw a lead away. But like, how focused will you be on the way we play if we are able to take a lead? Because I think at this point, everybody would agree that there's an issue there.
Well, they need practice, right? They need to respond after the Old Trafford game. We need a nice early goal around 12 minutes so that they can all say to themselves, all right, guys, let's do what we didn't do last time out. So I'm praying for all sorts of reasons, but in particular that they get the chance to respond and that the senior players are there. I don't think the youthful players will need to be told this time around. That it's one of those, how do you want to lose? And I think this is the classic question. Do you want to lose today at Goodison Park by going to goal up and
yes,
and then sitting back, or by going for it and going down in a blaze of glory? And that's the beauty about a day like today. There's no doubt about how you want to lose. You're going to go for it. And hopefully that's how you win. Whereas at Old Trafford, you're like a goal up. Oh, shit, we're a goal up. We didn't expect that goal. It's a gift from heaven. Let's just kind of hold on to this for a while. Like we have that Old Trafford game today. They go for it if they go 12 after 12 minutes, they go a goal up. because they've seen the other side. It's a stark binary for them. So I think this is, if we can get that goal early against Everton, I think we'll see a team that steps up and plays football till about 70 minutes, and then they say, oh, let's try and hold on to this and see if we can see out the last 20 minutes. It's a process. They'll learn. Unfortunately, with young teams, they do a lot of learning. It seems like you think you learn the same situation over and over again, but 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'm hoping to see that response in particular. Early goal, and we stick with it. We keep playing.
Yeah. I mean, Clive, it's one of those things that maybe the addition of Xhaka makes a big difference, because I think central midfield has been an issue. I mean, I know you don't like reading this stuff, but Thomas Partey says his performances since joining the club have been a 4 out of 10, and he said he's not yet adapted to the Premier League. Look, I just throw it up there because I've been.
Oh God, Clive's going to have a go at Thomas Partey now. Jesus,
he doesn't understand.
I don't.
You
don't need to, right? I think Jess nailed it, right? I think this is about what the best thing about what's happening with Thomas Partey is that he's actually doing interviews and taking responsibility, and that is a sign. Someone's had a word with him and said, "Mate, we need you to be who we signed." You're with Aubameyang, Pepe, and Lacazette. You're our top boys. You're the one with the big wages, so you better start doing it. Pepe's not getting on, so we know that that's a problem potentially, but we don't know 100%. But Partey needs to do a little bit more. I think what I would say is I think sometimes he's a bit too deferent, and he lets other people take over, and sometimes people are keying onto him. So now Xhaka's there, who's got the alpha personality. I think that will help him, and I think Xhaka gets help by having someone like Partey there. And I think that's our best partnership, and it was before the season started. And he needs to do more. But the most important thing, Elliot, is with the positional play that we have, positional system that we have people in zones, right? And what you want is the ball moving to those zones quickly as possible. You don't want the situation where we were carrying the ball with people who can't carry the ball with any intention to commit other people. They're just carrying the ball to make their next pass easier for them, right? And that's where we were in the last game. And that's why our offensive distances were too close. And that's why we turned the ball over. And that's why we stayed in for much longer than we intended to, right? The reason why you stay in is because you're not got control. Now, I do think we are a little bit that way to stay in. But if you're progressing the ball, you don't stay there. You don't separate the back line to your front line. You move up, right?
Yeah,
so it's natural. But the fact we couldn't retain the ball meant we stayed in too long. And that encouraged them. The one thing about Everton, you cannot encourage them. Their crowd will get up. Even the Liverpool game, there was was it 2-1 at one time? Man, that game was on the edge. And that was Liverpool.
We need to score all goals during their walkout.
We need to be serious about this game, right? And I think it's been really interesting reading and listening to what people have been saying about our problems. And I think the manager has reacted to it. He's made sure we've gone there if 11 men are going to work and look after the ball. He's brought in a central midfielder that moves the ball quickly, right? He's brought an experienced left back who won't empty his hole too quickly unless he's got secure possession on that side of the pitch. He's done exactly the right things. Now we need the result. Right? Otherwise, he hasn't done the right things. Otherwise, he's broken up partnerships. He's brought Xhaka back too soon. Why didn't he play his captain, who's his top scorer on 250 grand a week? And that's the life of a football manager and a football club, right? And I think I'm hopeful because I like what he's done. To me, he's recognized what went wrong in the last game and said, nah, that's not for me. I'm changing it. Here you go. Go out there and get me the points.
Yeah, I think he's told Aubameyang, hey, you're coming on at 60 minutes or whenever Lacazette's scheduled to get the meat sweats, and they'll be on tired legs. You get your goal today off the bench. That's your job, Aubameyang. Get your goal off the bench.
Yeah, but is this right, by the way? Is Mike Dean in charge of this match? You can't make this stuff. I mean... it's funny. The game I went to was the Palace game. I got to see the full Mike Dean experience, and it was not something I was hoping to, not something I was hoping to revisit. I don't know. I mean, look, well, let's finish up the last 10 minutes or so here with just sort of expectations. And Jess, like, I always sort of wonder when we start with Lacazette up front, because obviously I think he gives us more in possession than Aubameyang does. He does facilitate, and your hope is that, he can find Martinelli and find Saka in good positions. Odegaard's going to have to come in and join. The one thing we know about Lacazette, though, is that sometimes he goes missing in terms of his own chances. And so I don't really know what to think of Lacazette up front. I mean, his shot volume has dropped precipitously over his time at Arsenal, but some of that is because he's been given a different role, right? He's been asked to drop deeper. So this is theoretically more of a traditional number 9 opportunity for Lacazette that we haven't seen this season. When he's played, at least recently, it's been with Oba dropping in. Now he's got Odegaard behind him. So do you expect to see more of a traditional number 9 role from Lacazette? I mean, Mina's going to be a difficult matchup for him. How do you see Lacazette's role with Odegaard behind him? Because this is something different.
I think this is just what we're going to have to do until we get the striker that we need. I think we're going to be seeing some little, tweaks here and there. Aubameyang some days, Lacazette others. I think for me personally, last season, I thought the best football that we played was with Lacazette and the number 9, playing as that like middle person that was doing the distribution. That's no shade to Aubameyang. I just think with what we have right now, we need somebody that can hold the ball up in the system, because we don't play in behind. We don't play over the top. We don't play on the counter attack like that. So I would imagine that he played very similarly to the way that he played last season, with it was either Odegaard in behind him or ESR in behind him, and he was flicking those balls into the spaces in behind, and Saka / Pepe / whoever were running in behind. I think that's how we play. I don't think Aubameyang would have a lot of fun against Yerry Mina, at all. And I think Lacazette will give us the best possible chance of being in and around those center backs and giving them a difficult time. Do I think Lacazette's going to score a goal? If I had to, say who do I think would score the goal, I would say probably not him, unless it's a penalty. But this gives a good opportunity for Martinelli and Saka to score goals, and they have them in them. We just have to let it cook. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. But do I expect him to be scoring 2 or 3 goals? I don't, but I don't think that's his job in this system. And we even seen Odegaard making late runs into the box. Maybe he can get one, but our team at the moment, no matter how you put it together, doesn't have a lot of goals in it the way that we play. So I choose balance over, whatever else, to get us going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Quick shout out to this guy's friend, Phil McCracken. Big fan of me. Big fan of you too, Phil. So I hope you have a great night. Phil McCracken. Have a great
see
night.
How you
buddy.
dug
Big
that
fan.
comment out.
Yeah.
Big
What
fan.
about his buddy Ben Doon?
Yeah,
They're always seen together, Ben Doon and Phil McCracken.
McCracken. Okay, so
Elliot, I just want to add
mhm.
on that one point that I kind of see this setup being very like Obama.
Oh, the football point. Okay, good. I was going to say
yeah.
we don't need to. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Martinelli's going to do the Aubameyang off the left role with Lacazette through the middle, Saka over on the right. It'll be like old times, that formation you liked so much. But it'll probably suit Martinelli. Tierney getting up, making that fifth attacker. And I think Lacazette's in reasonable shape for scoring a goal near post on the right-hand side with cutbacks from Saka or a through ball from Odegaard. I think it's really interesting that Odegaard continues in the team and should do. I think that's a good call. I think he's building momentum, rhythm, confidence. That's the way forward. Of course, he could have backed off that after the last game, but Odegaard scoring goals, especially now with Aubameyang out of the team, he might actually be able to plug in a couple more goals without them getting intercepted. So, keep the momentum going. Build his level.
The only thing I'm sort of disappointed about, the one fun thing I was kind of looking forward
That's
to.
not how you spell Nietzsche. I just got to say that. Sorry.
No one knows how to spell Nietzsche. That's the thing about Nietzsche. No one knows how to spell his name. You must be the Ubermensch he spoke of then. The thing I was kind of looking forward to is if Aubameyang and Martinelli started is I think there's an interesting opportunity with that to let Martinelli and Aubameyang swap around a bit, right? So you could have Oba on the left at times and Martinelli could take up some more central positions. I think that'd be interesting to see. I don't think we'll see, obviously, a lot of that in this game. Clive, in terms of sort of sneaky opportunities, to hurt Everton, do you see this being a game for you're always there to remind me that a game is not just the 11 players that start, it's the other players that come on. And so he's got the guys out there tonight that I think are in favor. He doesn't have Smith Rowe on the bench. He has Pepe, who he doesn't seem to want to pick. So is it just down to Aubameyang to change the game?
Yeah, potentially. And the Pepe thing would be interesting to see what happens there. I'm almost like, I don't worry. Honestly, Elliot, I honestly, I like this starting lineup until the game starts. To go 1-0 down, and I won't like it because something would have happened and someone's not doing something, right?
Yeah.
So before the game starts, I like it. I can see it, right? So, but yeah, Aubameyang, he's had his moments and he needs to sit down. So what? It's a 50-game season. I just don't get worried about it. Right? Sit down, mate. You ain't done it. You've been playing like a ghost for a while. Sit down until you get your mojo back. And someone else comes in, and that's what we want. The problem, what we fixed over the summer, we hope, is that when we do sit people down, we're not bringing on people with clown shoes, right? And that's the problem we had last year. And I think it challenged, the manager failed the challenge, in my opinion. When we lost key people, he didn't, for me, have the right solution, right? So his solutions now are easier to find, and I'm not bothered about them. If people are not doing it, it's the players that have the problem. It's not the manager. The players have got to make themselves undroppable and say to the manager, "You pick me," right? And that's it. I think sometimes we say, "Why is the manager doing that?" Well, because the player hasn't done it, right? So do it, right? So there are situations we see the game day, so we can only judge that. If I'm Maitland-Niles now, I'm thinking, well, you know what? I did it, and you didn't go for me. By the way, I might be leaving in 6 months' time. So we now get into the period of the season where business takes over. We're in December. There's a January window coming up, and people may be sitting down because they could be going, or they want to make sure they don't get injured. So now the selection has more variables included in it. So let's see, right? But I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It is prediction time. Jess, I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal. Something like that. I hope that we win the game. I am nervous.
I hope we win the game. All right. Hang on, just jotting that down.
Hope that we win. Because I kind of want to see what they look like when they first come out. You can kind of look at them and see, like, do they have the confidence? Are they out here? Are they looking a little bit nervous? So I think a 2-1, something like that. We're better than them. We should be winning. But I just hope we don't have some sort of weird hangover or brain fog from the United game. They need to really shake that off and start anew. And there'll be a lot of things going on in that Everton and Goodison Park. If they walk out, the fans, we just need to stay focused. And I think we have it all within us, but I always think we have it all within us, so they kind of need to win this one, but 2-1.
Yeah, I would settle for 2-1. That's absolutely it. Get your predictions into the chat, everybody. We're going to get them up there. Clive, what do you got here?
Yeah, what I'm hoping for tonight is good partnerships, right? I think there's some good partnerships there. I want to see them as they are in my head right now come out onto the pitch. For those people that think I protect Thomas Partey, I actually don't care about any football players apart from Patrick Vieira. So Elliot, stop defining me by that guy because it is what it is, right? I honestly don't care. They've got the problem. And so for me...
Just to make you feel better, Clive, we had that quote up on the screen earlier. Someone just asked that I put it on when you were on the stream, just so you know.
All right, okay. No, I honestly, I did care when he signed. I thought that's a good signing. I do worry about his movement, if I'm honest with you. That's the thing I worry about. When you're judging him, look at how he's running. Yeah, and I tell you, that's what worries me. He's running like he's got stiff legs, mate. He needs some yoga, right? And that's what I'm looking at, right? So yeah, I think it's going to be 3-2. I think it's going to be an awful evening of trauma, and but yeah, I think we'll just about nick it.
Well, we were just involved in a 3-2, and it was an awful evening, so I would be fine with winning one 3-2. Paul, do you have a prediction for us, and preferably not what you've predicted the last 2 times because they've come pretty close to true?
I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw. Look, I'm a student of stoicism. This is how you do it. You picture the future. You picture it dark. You emotionally adjust yourself to it so that you're ready. You're ready for the battle.
I'm already angry thinking about one.
You're always right too. Like,
that's the problem.
He's always right.
All right. Well, we better get out of here because it's getting close to kickoff time. I will predict 3-1 to the Arsenal. I think the big issue, right, is like who's going to step up we're in a bit of a low moment right now. Who's going to step up and get that first goal for us? Who's going to be the player that does it? And I mean, you think maybe it'll be Saka, maybe it'll be Martinelli. Well, they're kids. It needs to be Lacazette or something. We need someone who is a senior experienced player to step up when the team needs them and say, I can take this responsibility and I can get this game going in the right direction. I am hesitant to say that I think if we score first, we can win, because that has actually been our undoing, but I think that is going to be the case here. So we'll say goodbye to everybody. Jess is on Twitter at It's Jessinho. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon. Paul's on Twitter. Pause my pants. Thanks, Pause.
Woohoo!
Hope you're wrong. As always, talk to you in the instant reaction, Clyde. But yeah, I mean, you think we'll go through the ringer again tonight, huh?
I think it'll be, well, it is. We're in that place, right? We're in that place at the moment. I think there's no predicting what the future is for this team. I think we all know it's going to be better than it is today, just because the age profiles, and they've showed enough. I think the team has really got some places to go. I am so interested in what we do in the striker department. My saying, you're as good as your forwards. In my own team, we had a new forward coming at the weekend, and it transformed how we played. Transformed.
Well,
it, right?
that's the next step in the development.
And it is honestly, people, when you've got the ball, you're progressing the ball. If you've got a forward that's really devastating, trust me, everything has a direction. It has a direction. It has some continuity. At the moment, we look like a bit of a team that's written on a tactics board. Do you know what I mean? Because we haven't got the devastation which just happens and makes you feel you're out of your structure. You're out of your structure. So, and I can see why some people say that, because we have to be that way at the moment, because we're a little bit aged up front, or we're a little bit young. So there's no sure thing, in what we have in that top end of the pitch. But it is what it is, right? We're sitting there. There's only 4 teams got a plus goal difference. Is that right?
Yeah.
And we're not one of them. So there's something happening in this league at the moment, and we need to do a lot better in that regard. And first things first, keep the ball. Keep the flipping football. Stop being so sloppy. Keep the ball. Allow us to see us in our attacking shape for longer periods, and then we can judge this group a lot more.
All right, man. I agree. Well, I will chat with you at full time, hopefully in a buoyant and drunken instant reaction pod. Talk to you in a bit.
I hope so. Take care, mate. Thank you very much.
Love. Thanks, bud. My name's Elliot Smith. You can block me on Twitter, Yankee Gunner. Thanks, everyone, for joining. These are fun. It's fun to do these because it reminds me of when we had games midweek, which hopefully we will have next season, thanks to our top 4 and, dare I say, top 1 finish, having won the league, which does get you, it says here, qualification in the Champions League, which is the real reason you want to win the league, so you get a Champions League place. Anyway, hope you enjoy the game. Hope it's a brilliant one. It feels like a very big game. The manager has made some very big choices. So we'll be back with you with a regular podcast tomorrow to go over all of it and more live streams in the future. We love you. And we will talk to you after Arsenal 10, Everton 0.